Good evening, or at least it's evening over here, and it's great to see you in Grandpa Joe. The Lamb, great to see you in Ylle. It's gonna be a good week. Jake says, yep. Keith H sounds good to me. Great stuff. Hey, Grumpy Mike and the Ben Coombs. Great to see you all in. So, tonight, oh goodness me, sorry, and Dennis, hey, Mississippi Blues. Great to see you. And BC Rich 581. Richard Friend, hey, happy Sunday to you. Sean Hockey, my brother, yay. And Tall Thing Kev, great. So, tonight you asked for Stevie Ray Vaughan, and that's what we're going to have. Oh, hey, Connor, good to see you, and that's great to see you in as well. Everyone's tipping in. And Papa Blue, and Gavin T. Wow. Love it, love it. So, we are going to get on with it. Guitar Man 45, great to see you. We have to get on with it a little bit quick tonight because I have got so much. So we're going to start with the biography of Stevie Ray. Here we go. If I can find it. There we are. Okay. Oh, let's try again. Oh my word. It doesn't seem to be working. Let me try opening it. Oh no.
Astonishingly accomplished guitar playing, Stevie Ray Vaughan ignited the blues revival of the 80s. Vaughan drew equally from bluesmen like Albert King, Buddy Guy, and Albert Collins and rock and roll players like Jimi Hendrix and Lonnie Mack, as well as jazz guitarists like Kenny Burrell and Wes Montgomery, developing a uniquely eclectic and fiery style that sounded like no other guitarist, regardless of genre. Vaughan bridged the gap between blues and rock like no other artist had since the late 60s. From 1983 to 1990, Stevie Ray was the leading light in American blues, consistently selling out concerts while his albums regularly went gold. His tragic death in 1990 at age 35 cut short a brilliant career in blues and American rock and roll just as he was on the brink of superstardom. Born and raised in Dallas, Vaughan began playing guitar at age 7, inspired by older brother Jimmy. By age 12 he was playing in garage bands, and within a few years he joined semi-professional bands that occasionally landed gigs in local nightclubs. At 17 he dropped out of high school to concentrate on playing music. In 1970 Stevie was playing in a 9-piece horn band and then formed his first blues band, Blackbird, a year later. Blackbird moved to Austin, and after a few more stints in various bands, Vaughan joined Paul Ray and the Cobras in 1975. The Cobras were Austin's Band of the Year in 1976. After paying his dues as a sideman, Stevie formed Triple Threat Revue in 1977. Triple Threat also featured bassist W.C. Clark, and vocalist Lou Ann Barton. Barton left the band in 1979 and the group became Double Trouble, the name inspired by the Otis Rush song. Double Trouble featured Jack Newhouse on bass, Chris Layton on drums, and Vaughan became the band's lead singer. In 1981, Tommy Shannon joined on bass and the power trio was set. Through the early 1980s, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble played the Texas club circuit, becoming one of the most popular bands in the area. In 1982, the band played the Montreux Jazz Festival and their performance caught the attention of David Bowie and Jackson Browne. After Double Trouble's performance, Bowie asked Vaughan to play on his forthcoming album, Let's Dance, which, with Stevie's lead guitar on 6 of the 8 songs, became Bowie's best-selling record to date. After an after-hours jam in the artist's bar, Jackson Browne offered the group free recording time at his downtown studio in Los Angeles. Shortly afterward, legendary producer John Hammond landed Vaughan and Double Trouble a record contract with Epic, and the band recorded its debut album in 2 days over the Thanksgiving weekend at Downtown Studios. Vaughan's debut album, Texas Flood, was released in the summer of 1983, a few months after Bowie's Let's Dance appeared. Publicity over Stevie's management pulling him from Bowie's 1983 World Tour in order to support Vaughan's own record earned him quite a bit of attention. But Texas Flood was a blockbuster blues success, receiving positive reviews in both blues and rock publications, reaching number 38 on the charts, and crossing over to album rock radio stations. Vaughan and Double Trouble set off on a successful tour and quickly recorded their second album, Couldn't Stand the Weather, which was released in May of 1984. The album was more successful than its predecessor, reaching number 31 on the charts. By the end of 1985, the album went gold. Double Trouble added keyboardist Reese Winans in 1985, before they recorded their third album, Soul to Soul. The record was released in September 1985 and was also quite successful, reaching number 34 on the charts. Although his professional career was soaring, Vaughan was sinking deep into alcoholism and drug addiction. Despite his declining health, Vaughan continued to push himself to the point of collapse in Germany in late September 1986. Almost 3 weeks of the European tour were cancelled while Vaughan successfully rehabilitated back in the States. The band released the double live album Live Alive in November of 1986 and launched an extensive American tour in support. Although the band's touring schedule slackened slightly, Vaughan performed many concerts in 1988, including opening for the Robert Plant Tour, a headlining gig at the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, a European tour, and he still found time to record his fourth album. The resulting record, In Step, appeared in June of 1989, peaking at number 33 on the charts, earning a Grammy for Best Contemporary Blues Recording, and going gold just over 6 months after its release. In the spring of 1990, Stevie Ray recorded an album with his brother Jimmy, which was scheduled for release in the fall of the year. In the late summer of 1990, Vaughan and Double Trouble set out on an American headlining tour. On August 26, 1990, their East Troy, Y gig concluded with an encore jam featuring guitarists Eric Clapton, Buddy Guy, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimmy Vaughan, and Robert Cray. After the concert, Stevie Ray boarded a helicopter bound for Chicago. Minutes after its 12:50 a.m. takeoff, the helicopter crashed, killing Vaughan and the other 4 passengers. He was only 35 years old. Family Style, the Vaughan Brothers album, was released in September and entered the charts at number 7. Family Style began a series of posthumous releases that were as popular as the albums Vaughan released during his lifetime. The Sky is Crying, a collection of studio outtakes compiled by Jimmy, was released in October of 1991. It entered the charts at number 10 and went platinum 3 months after its release. In the Beginning, a recording of a Double Trouble concert in 1980, was released in the fall of 1992, and the compilation Greatest Hits was released in 1995. In 1999, Vaughan's original albums were remastered and reissued, with The Real Deal, Greatest Hits, Volume 2 also appearing that year. 2000 saw the release of the 4-disc box SRV, which concentrated heavily on outtakes, live performances, and rarities.
So there we go. One of the best blues players ever, I would say. A real talent. He was a great player. Papa Blue says he's got every Stevie Ray album and the Stevie Ray strap. Hey Glenn, good to see you. Oh, thank you so much, Ben. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys like these little tributes to some of our great guitar players. Oh, good morning, John. Good to see you in. And Blackjack. He's doing a last raid. Phil James. Sorry I'm a little late, but I forgot here in Wales we're 10 minutes behind you. No, you're not. Oh, thanks, Jake. That's really kind. I am glad that you guys like these sort of, tributes to amazing guitar players. I have so much coming up for you tonight. I'm just going to move the biography into the done box if I can. Try again. It doesn't seem to want to go. So I have a ton of Stevie Ray stuff tonight. Great to see you too, Lamb. And big love right back at you. Ben says, I told my dad I wanted to put 13s on my Strat like Stevie. Dad says you better get a tech to hit the next rate. Yeah, I tell you what, that is a lot of tension on the neck. Oh, that's a shame. Stevie's tech passed away a few years ago. John's moving on to 9.5, exactly the same as I play. That's cool. Right. I'm not sure why I can't move. Oh, it's moved. Okay, so we have got an awful lot to get through. So we can have how Stevie Ray Vaughan's love of Jimi Hendrix taught him to play. Stevie Ray Vaughan on his first favourite album. Stevie Ray recommends 3 underrated guitar players. The 16 best Stevie Ray Vaughan quotes. The first time Eric Clapton heard Stevie Ray, or the triumphant and tragic death of Stevie Ray Vaughan. I will do whatever you guys put up first. So let's have a look. Aha! Quotes. You got in there. Tall thing, Kev. Let's do it. I'll do you the quotes. Here we go.
Too many six-string players. The Dallas, Texas-born Stevie Ray Vaughan is one of, if not the greatest electric guitar player of all time. The man's fingers were like octopuses, capable of moving and dancing and jumping like a horned frog on his fretboard. Songs like Pride and Joy and Crossfire remain standards when it comes to shredding, even after the artist's death, at just 35 years old, in 1990. But what about Vaughan's thoughts regarding life and art outside of what he expressed in his songs? What did he have to say about life and love, his craft, and his audience? Let's dive into the 16 best Stevie Ray Vaughan quotes, shall we? 1. You see, we are here, as far as I can tell, to help each other, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, our enemies. That is to help each other and not hurt each other. 2. The way people come into your life when you need them, it's wonderful and it happens in so many ways. It's like having an angel. Somebody comes along and helps you get right. 3. I actually wanted to be a drummer, but I didn't have any drums. 4. I've put my life back together, but it's all a growing process and that's neat, too, because if you stop growing, what good is it musically? So that is what I am looking forward to, growing. In some ways, I felt stagnant in my life and it showed. 5. I'm just doing the best I can now to keep this going, trying to grow up and remain young at the same time. 6. Some of us can be examples about going ahead and growing, and some of us, unfortunately, don't make it there and end up being examples because they had to die. I hit rock bottom, but thank God my bottom wasn't death. 7. Ya know. Right now the most important thing in my life is to make sure you understand that, first of all, I thank God I'm alive today, and I mean that. I spent too many years of my life thinking that the big party was the whole thing. 8. Lots of times I'll play lead and rhythm together. 9. Jazz changes and all. But I don't know the names of what it is I'm doing. 10. What I am trying to get across to you is please take of yourselves and those that you love, because that is what we are here for, that's all we got, and that is all we can take with us. Are you with me? 11. And sometimes to help them we have got to help ourselves. 12. But between sets, I'd sneak over to the black places to hear blues musicians. It got to the point where I was making my living at white clubs and having my fun at the other places. 13. I got a lot of paradoxes in my life. I guess I'm a real confused person, but there are some focused parts to my life now, and I'm slowly trying to put all the pieces back together. 14. I kept listening, kept going to see people, kept sitting in with people, kept listening to records. If I wanted to learn somebody's stuff, like with Clapton, when I wanted to learn how he was getting some of his sounds, which were real neat, I learned how to make the sounds with my mouth and then copied that with my guitar. 15. I was taught to think the next week or month or year will only get better than it is today. So I just keep waiting to see how great it will get. 16. I've been trying to grow up some myself, in my heart, and it's happening quickly and I feel good about it, and I want that to come out in the music. What a great set of quotes. Stevie really was a poet of sorts.
Yep, he was a poet of sorts. A real guitar player. So Ben tonight it has Smithy on, and that'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. So do go and check that out if you get a chance. Yeah, and he's ready. Great. Yep, Smithy is a guest, or Smithy. Talking Kev says, I put 9s on my area 12 string. Don't think it'll be a good idea to go thicker. No, I don't either. Yep. There's a lot of photos of Stevie. I have a very, very long Stevie Ray Vaughan. Let me put that in there. Hopefully that's gone in. Let me see. Yeah, that's cool. I think the next one you wanted to see was Hendrix. Shall we do that? Oh, bless you. Thank you, Papa Blue. Well, I hope the Steve Ray stuff is good. Well, at least I hope it's better than my voice. Word on the street. It's a community hang. Oh, yeah. Wow. Ben, you got a community hang tonight. That will be a lot of fun. And I'll watch that tomorrow morning. Awesome. So, I'm going to give you Stevie Ray and his take on how Jimi Hendrix really changed his life. I hope. Any second.
Blues, Stevie Ray Vaughan is something of a deity. Despite his short career, Vaughan has left an impressive legacy behind, the shadow of which still looms over the landscape of American rock music to this day. With his incredible technical prowess and astounding ability to reinterpret old classics, Vaughan managed to inject new life into a genre that, by the 1980s, was going through a creative slump. However, with one foot in the past and another rooted firmly in the present, Vaughan changed the game, leaving an indelible mark on blues music. Back in 1984, 6 years before his tragic death, the guitar legend sat down to discuss his love for the man who wrote the rulebook for modern guitar playing, Jimi Hendrix. Recalling the impact of the legendary guitarist, Vaughan said, "I loved Jimmy a lot. He was so much more than just a blues guitarist. He could do anything. I was about 16 when he died. I could do some of his stuff by then, but actually I've been trying to find out what he was doing more so lately than I was then. Now I'm really learning how to do it and I'm trying to expand on it, not that I can expand on it a whole bunch. But I try." Throughout his career, Stevie Ray Vaughan was constantly refining his style, always looking for new ways to capture the music swirling around his head. Having come to music theory much later than his schoolmates, Vaughan appreciated that Hendrix was entirely self-taught. "I took music theory for 1 year in high school and flunked all but one 6-week period," he said. "That's because I couldn't read music and the rest of the class was already 8 or 9 years into it. The teacher would sit down and hit a 10-fingered chord on the piano and you had to write all the notes down in about 10 seconds. I just couldn't do it. It was more like math to me," Vaughan recalled. Hendrix, however, was proof of the fact that Vaughan didn't need books to be a great musician. This self-taught tradition was one that the jazz guitarist Django Reinhardt had also been part of. For Vaughan, it was the way Hendrix seemed to celebrate Reinhardt's amateur spirit that he found so appealing. "To me, Django and Jimmy were doing the same thing in a lot of ways," he began. "Django would do it with acoustic guitar and Jimmy would do it on electric, using feedback and things. Instead of using feedback, Django would just shake those strings like crazy. And neither one of them had anything to build on, they just did it. Django didn't have any book or anything to borrow from. He wrote the book. Same with Jimmy. Nobody was doing those kinds of electronic things he was doing. He just did it." Stevie Ray Vaughan continued the DIY legacy Hendrix left behind, showing young musicians that the only thing that mattered was passion and drive. He was proof that books could only teach so much, that the greatest music came straight from the gut.
Yep, totally. Most of the best music comes straight from the gut. Dimitri, thank you so much, my friend. Let me give you one of these. So very kind, very much appreciated. Never courted, but always appreciated. He says, "No biggie. It's a little bit silly, but it's symmetry. Cheers, man. Or at least that's what I was trying for. Awesome." Hey, Shiloh. Hey, Brett, Guitar Miller. Awesome. And Ray Pike says, "Hendrix is a great musician to look up to." I would totally agree. I think Stevie Ray had a lot of Hendrix style riffs. What do you think? Yeah, definitely. The greatest music does come from the gut. Stevie Ray, Pine Knob, June 90, 2 months before he died. Not sure what that is, but Scene, you saw him. Oh man, wow. He put 12s. Oh, Paul Kossoff, he's a good one. Maybe we'll do him one day. Yeah, very much admired for his bending, I would have thought. Your fingers are raw. Wow. He also did his Denny solo at the Stage Edge. Wow. Oh, Grumpy Mike, bless you. He says, for a wellness tone jar, and why not? Thanks for the SRV tribute. My best to you and the fam. Cheers. Well, I have to give you one of these, brother. Thank you so much. Always appreciated, my friend. Thank you, Grumpy Mike. You are so kind. Papa Blue says he was a student that became the teacher. Carlos, hello. Yeah, I have to carry on. I'm going to carry on all the time I can talk. So I'm hoping that you guys will help me out with a few more ideas for who to do on Sundays. I have to say, physically, I feel great. Vocally, it's a bit of a struggle. If Stevie Ray was still alive, Jimmy would get more recognition. Wow. Jimmy Vaughan was a great guitar player, and actually he was the one that inspired Stevie to play. So that is cool. Yes, I think so. Stevie Ray Vaughan was taught by the greatest. Yeah, very much by his brother. Oh, how about Alvin Leigh? Great shout, brother. Great shout. Oh, Paul Cotter. Yeah, well, I think we can do him. And Alvin Leigh. I think there's some really great guitar players. Glad to hear it. And so am I, my friend. Absolutely a Hendrix-inspired riff master. Like John Fritsch, I can't say that, and John Mayer, the influence seeps through. Yeah, I think all these guitar players, all the modern ones, were influenced by all the preceding guitar players. Hey Trevor, good to see you. Alvin Leigh is cool. Yep, right. What did we just do? Hendrix. That was it. Okay. I think Jimmy was very much influenced by Curtis Mayfield and Albert King. Then Stevie was heavily influenced by Jimmy and Albert King. Cheers, Mike. I'm having a coffee while I watch. Well, enjoy your coffee, brother. Oh, wow. Alvin Leigh or maybe Frank Marino. Yeah. Oh, guys, you have got some great ideas. Really have. Right. Next up, we are going to do about Stevie Ray's favourite album. Here we go, hopefully. Any second now.
Stevie Ray Vaughan only basked in the light of fame for 7 years as a mainstream artist, but his influence as a virtuoso blues guitarist has put him up there with the all-time greats like Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton among musos. The Dallas-born singer-songwriter dropped out of high school in Austin, Texas in 1972 and began to gain popularity after playing a series of gigs on the local club circuit. Vaughan met Tommy Shannon and Chris Layton in the late 1970s, with whom he formed his first band, Double Trouble, in 1978. Double Trouble began to dominate the biggest venues across the state, and by the end of the decade, they had become the most popular band in Texas. In 1982, Vaughan performed at the Montreux Jazz Festival, where David Bowie bore witness to his talent as a guitarist. Impressed, Bowie invited Vaughan along to a studio to play with him. At the time, Bowie was working on his 15th studio album, Let's Dance, and Vaughan ended up recording the blues guitar tracks for the album. Following his brush with the Starman, Vaughan received interest from John Hammond, who managed to get him and his band signed to Epic Records for a major record deal. Within a few months, Vaughan and Double Trouble had released their critically acclaimed debut album Texas Flood, and there began Vaughan's mainstream success. Sadly, his time as a top-flight musical artist was cut short in August 1990 as a helicopter he was traveling in following a show in East Troy, Wisconsin, crashed, killing all on board. Subsequent investigations concluded that the crash had been caused by pilot error. Following his rise to worldwide acclaim in 1984, Vaughan reflected on some of his early influences in an interview with Billy Pennell. Vaughan identified the first album he ever bought as Lonnie Mac's The Wham of That Memphis Man, 1963, and described it as a vital influence on him as a guitarist. It was the first album that I ever bought. He, Jimmy Vaughan, his older brother, turned me on to the guy and let me know who he was. I went straight and bought the record. It was one of the first things that I ever really tried to learn, which is a pretty hard thing to learn. But it worked out, Vaughan said. He mentioned the 1963 record again, 2 years later in an interview with Andy Aladort. Wham was a great record. I played it so many times, my dad broke it. He got mad and broke it because I played it over and over and over and over. When I didn't think it could be any louder, I went and borrowed somebody's Shure Vocal Master PA. I put mics in front of the stereo speakers, and then turned the PA up. It was loud in my room. He continued, explaining the level of inspiration the LP had had on his subsequent pursuit of a career in music. A lot of inspiration, I can tell you that, Vaughan said. Between listening to that guy's feeling in his music and watching my brother. Also, how much feeling he had with it. I mainly just picked up big-time inspiration. What I was getting out of it wasn't so much technical or anything. Just the thought of them playing made me want to jump up and play. Following Vaughan's rise to fame in the 1980s, he even had the chance to meet his hero. In 1985, Vaughan was humbled when Mac invited him to County produce his 1985 album Strike Like Lightning. Subsequently, Vaughan was invited to play with Mac on tour supporting the new album. What an amazing player Stevie was, he will be sorely missed.
Yeah, so Stevie Ray, really a desperate sadness that he died so soon. A1 F Tupper says, how about all the great session players of the past who played on massive hits like Gang Campbell, Tommy Tuxedo, Al Casey, Mike DC, all from the Wrecking Crew. Even Jimmy Page was a session player. You're right, mate. Absolutely. I will be happy to do anyone that you guys want me to do. So there we go. Someone says Johnny Winter. Yeah, why not? Glenn Campbell. Or Roy Clark. Wow. You guys have got some great ideas. There are lots of clips of Stevie Ray swapping guitars mid-song. Yeah, he was amazing at doing that. Really was. Really great. Great stage skills. Yeah, lovely. Saw Stevie in his last show in Phoenix. He made me want to throw out my guitars. Never throw out your guitars, man. You always have your own style. And although maybe some of us do not get to show it too often, it's important to have your own style. Oh, Brian, that is so kind, my friend. Always enjoy your content so much. Brian from Oregon, that is incredibly kind. And it really doesn't cover it with one of these, but I have to give you one. That is so kind. Thank you so much, brother. That is incredibly kind. And I do really appreciate it. Never courses, but always appreciate it. A lot of people shouting out for Rory Gallagher and George Benson. Yeah, I have been writing some down. Well, I'm lads. Hey, good to see you, brother. Let me see. Eric Johnson, yeah, he would be a great one to do. And yeah, he's a great player. Real great player. Throw was great, but a late fine for me. Right up there with the absolute best. Winter also. Stevie though, wish he got a limo instead of a stupid chopper. I think we all think that, my friend. Yeah, we do. Hey Leo, good to see you, man. Sorry to bow, alas, but it was Stevie Ray Vaughan. Oh, man. Oh, April, that is so kind as well. For you, glad to have caught another live show. Well, bless you, my friend. Let me give you one of these. You guys are so kind to me, and I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. I have a really long Stevie Ray. In fact, let me move that on his first favourite album. I have got 3 more coming up for you, and I hope you enjoy them. Actually, amazingly, on my live channel this week, I've had 52 subscribers, and we've had more views than I have on the main channel, which is crazy. So yeah, all good. How about forgetting the dead ones? You may be able to chat with the live ones. Well, that would be good. That I think is true. I think he swapped helicopters with Eric Clapton. I think you're right. That's right. That's all good. What about the great bass players? Well, we could cover them as well. Yeah. Hey, Gary. Great to see you. From North Wales. It's good to see you in. Great channel. Keep rocking, sir. I will, my friend. That's really a shame. I'll say no more because it would be me. Blackjack, I miss that. Oh, talking Kev, thank you so much, brother. Let me give you one of these. Thank you so much, my brother. That was really kind. Right, you guys can decide. Do you want Stevie Ray recommends 3 underrated guitar players, or the first time Eric Clapton heard Stevie Ray, or would you like the very long one, which is about 16 minutes, about the triumphant life and tragic death of Stevie Ray Vaughan? Let me know, and the first one that comes up, I will do for you. Let me see. Who's going to be first in? Underrated. There we go. It was Ylle. Right, here we go. Underrated. Yeah, here we go. Hopefully this will work, Jake.
Vaughan is surely one of the most romantic figures in American blues music. Ferociously talented, the guitarist's life was cut tragically short on August 27, 1990, when the 35-year-old's helicopter spun out of control and crashed, killing him and 4 others. The shock of his death quickly cast his life in a new light. Today, Vaughan is revered not only as a talented musician but as an innovator of the blues genre. With albums like Texas Flood, 1983 and Couldn't Stand the Weather, 1984, Stevie breathed life into what many believed was a dying art. In doing so, he introduced countless people to one of America's greatest musical inventions. Here, the guitarist names some of the blues guitarists who failed to receive the recognition they deserved. Speaking to Michael Corcoran back in 1989, Vaughan listed a handful of musicians he believed had been overlooked. First up, Denny Freeman, a blues guitarist from Austin, Texas, who began his career as the co-lead guitarist of the Cobras, with whom he played alongside Vaughan. Denny Freeman. I know he's got some recognition lately. But he's still underrated, Stevie said of his friend. He's just incredible. I guess the main thing I learned from him was how to really play rhythm. But he's also a great example of a player who has a thread that runs through his solos. He's always thinking ahead when he's playing. Vaughan went on to mourn the lack of recognition afforded to American guitarist Doyle Bramhall II, son of the songwriter and drummer Doyle Bramhall. Best known for his work with British rockers Roger Waters and Eric Clapton, Bramhall was described by Stevie with the utmost respect. He'll pull it out of a hat and just scare you, the guitarist told Corcoran. Some of the things that I wish I could play the way I want to, he'll just pull them out. His style is kinda like the best parts of Johnny Guitar Watson. It could be only a couple notes. But it's the timing that just gets you. But Vaughan was interested in more than the blues. In fact, his virtuosic control of melody owes a lot to great, and shamefully underrated jazz players such as Kenny Burrell, who played alongside the great Jimmy Smith on the 1965 hit, Organ Grin Swing. I saw Kenny Burrell a couple years ago and he just killed me, Stevie said. I don't think I can play jazz. I can play jazz but I don't really know enough about it to take off. These 3 guitarists, in Vaughan's eyes, represented the pinnacle of guitarmanship. If you're one of the many blues fans yet to hear their work, it's well worth checking out these guitarists as they have a pedigree from Stevie and that's enough to recommend them.
Yeah, so Stevie recommending 3 guitar players there, and I checked them out and they were great. And I understand why he recommended them. I really do. Dennis, that is very kind, my friend. Thank you so much. I want to give you one of these. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Never courted. There's a good shout there. Grumpy Mike. Any new videos on the way? If you haven't checked out my buddy, Grumpy Mike, check him out. He's amazing. Really great. Let me see. What have I missed? Yeah, very sorry to hear that, Brummy. Yeah, that's a really good shout, music therapy, lads. Hope you're able to enjoy music in other ways. Yeah, it's hard when you can't play. I've been really struggling holding a pick with my right hand. And I've just been working this muscle and trying to get it back. And I managed to hold a pick the other day to do a demo on a guitar. So, yeah, it is tough when you can't play anymore. But my heart goes out to you, brother. Wow. His death was the first time I actually felt it. Maya trying to play his riffs. Good for you, Papa Blue. Hey, Marcy. Good to see you. Lovely to see you in. And then there was the Artemis Pro who survived the Skinner plane crash. There are too many crazy rock and roll tales. I can't tell so, yes, very much so. Oh, you've got nerve damage in your right arm and hand. Wow. Oh, it's in your back. Oh, wow, man. Well, we hope that gets better. Music therapy does. Yep. That's not what Mrs. Grumpy says. I'm sure she does. I'm sure she does. Let me move that Stevie Ray thing over. Okay, I've got 2 left. You can either have the big one about his life, or it can be the first time Eric Clapton heard Stevie Ray. Let me know. First comment there. Oh, wow. I cried for 2 days when we lost Stevie. Still miss him. I think a lot of people do. Yep, for sure. Nerve damage hasn't stopped me from playing, just made me work harder. Okay. Phil James says, Eric. Okay, you've got it, brother. Here we go. Any second now.
In the 1960s, there was only one guitarist in England who had earned the moniker of being a bona fide guitar deity. Eric Clapton's position in some of the most important bands of the moment, John Mayall's and the Bluesbreakers, the Yardbirds and Cream, guarantees him a spot in musical history. While plenty of other guitarists challenged Clapton for the crown, Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck and Jimi Hendrix being the most obvious candidates, Slowhand retained a sense of superiority that rarely waned. As time passed on and the need for a virtuoso guitarist fell away, thanks in no small part to the 3-chord brilliance of punk, Clapton's hopes for a new generation of astounding guitar players petered out. It wasn't until he heard Prince's stunning performances that he was reinvigorated with the instrument and rock at large. However, one more player captured his imagination and garnered his appreciation, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Despite having a career that spanned only 7 short years, Stevie Ray Vaughan's influence on blues guitar is immense. It's impossible to overstate just how much his virtuosic yet accessible style informed those who came after him. By 1990, the year of Vaughan's tragic death, the guitarist had already left an indelible mark on the world of blues, a genre that Clapton held dear to his heart. As part of an interview with a tribute to Stevie Ray Vaughan, Clapton shared his love and appreciation for the iconic performer. He recalled the first moments he heard the unique player's eclectic tone. I was in my car, and I remember thinking, I have to find out before the day is over who that guitar player is. That doesn't happen to me very often. About 3 or 4 times in my life, I felt that way in a car listening to the radio where I've stopped the car, pulled over and listened and thought, I've got to find out before the end day. Not sooner or later, but I have to know now who that is. I remember being fascinated by the fact that he never ever seemed to be lost in any way. For Clapton, it wasn't necessarily the notes or scales he was playing but the attitude and feeling that emanated from his guitar. It wasn't ever that he took a breather or paused to think where he was going to go next. It just flowed out of him. Always seemed to flow out of him, and actually, even that doesn't come just with virtuosity, practice or any of those. It's not a question of doing it over and over again or anything like that. It's just that he seemed to be an open channel. He just flowed through him, he never ever seemed to kind of dry up. Because when I play, I sometimes stop, confessed Clapton, acknowledging SRV's unique disposition for playing. Every now and then, I just stop and think, what I'm going to do now. I don't want to repeat myself, so I get caught up somehow. You freeze, and most players do. I never saw him do that, he was a channel in some way. During the same interview, Clapton also shared one of the moments he witnessed the guitarist perform live. I saw him play in London one time. So I sat about 6 rows back at the Hammersmith Odeon, and for about the first 10 minutes, I thought I wasn't going to be able to take it because it was so loud. I thought, I can't take this, and actually got used to it. Within 20 minutes after that, I was used to it, and it was right, it got me, become alright. The experience of watching Vaughan play was far beyond watching a singer or band go at it. For Clapton, it was a holistic experience, at the same time was kind of like that thing I had to surrender to it completely and in a way. When we were in Alpine Valley, I couldn't let myself do that. I had to put up a bit of resistance in order to keep my own kind of self-esteem up. Because I wouldn't be able to go on otherwise. I'm not joking. To be completely absorbed by what he was doing, I would have thought, what's the point? And I kind of done a runner, and I cleared off, run away. There aren't many guitarists who could give Eric Clapton a bout of jealousy, but it would seem that Stevie Ray Vaughan was just that damn good that he could even make Slowhand look for a quick exit.
Yeah, he certainly could. He was an amazing player. John Pearson, what is Pike Max? I'd be really interested to find out what that is. Can you email me? And I'll tell you where. There you go. At China Guitar Skeptic at gmail.com. I'll be really interested to find out about that, my friend. Thank you. Music therapy has often plays without a pick. This is turning into a self-help group. Deja Vu says, and the modern day legend like Tim Pierce is always worth talking about. Light touch and ergonomics, wise words, helps to have really well set up guitars. Great idea. Let me see. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Thanks, buddy. Right. We are at 53. I'm going to just tell you something that might make you think, oh dear, this guitar that I did for MND ALS Day has not had any takers yet. So if you fancy this reverse headstock, beautiful guitar, let me know on the same email address. Yeah, I'm not too worried if it doesn't go because I'm loving playing it. I really am. I know it looks like Marcy really doesn't like Clapton at all. Let me see. April says, Marcy Jan's love for Clapton until I heard his racist on-stage rant in the 70s, which she never apologized for, not to mention his recent outbursts. Well, I've been a bit disappointed that he was anti-vax because that's not good for society. There we go. Right. We haven't got time for the long video. So you guys are going to have to go over to the new channel to CGS Live, and that's where you can see the whole video of, let me see what it was. Yep, the triumphant life and tragic death of Stevie Ray Vaughan. So you'll have to go over there and check that one out, because as always, I promise you guys, I try not to go over an hour. Right, let me see if I've got a few more comments to answer. Yeah, Phil saying Eric Clapton isn't very likable. Yeah, that's very true as well, Alan. Free speech, nothing wrong with that. Well, it depends on what the free speech is, but we don't ever want to stop free speech. Do you have a reserve price? No, I do not. There's no reserve on it at all. I just want to raise some money for the ALS charity for obvious reasons. Link, please. Well, if it's for this. Oh, no, you're talking about the other channel. Let me grab that for you. Oh, no, I've put it on the... Okay, I will put it in the links. There we go. Dave says, oopsie, but it's all good for ALS too, not just MS. Well, yeah, I have to say, I think we should raise money for all of these things. And yeah, I hope you guys are with me on that, because, yeah, there's so many people getting ALS and MS these days. I'm fighting it, and I sent a video out the other week saying what I'm doing. I hope you all enjoyed it. Oh, thank you. Bless you, music therapy lads. For you and the ALS charity, my love you, man. I love you too, brother, and I have to give you one of these. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm a little worried about Ben Mosley. I haven't seen him here recently either. I will email him because we are really, really good mates. And yeah, he is a great, great guy. So I will let you know next week what his response is. Oh, bless you. April, that is so, so kind. Let me give you. April, that is so kind. I feel like sending you this guitar for that. Really, really sweet of you. Thank you so much. I will donate that to the cause. Absolutely. Oh, bless you all. They're so kind. I am overwhelmed by your kindness, my friends. We have just hit the hour. A couple more little things. Rummy, thank you so much. 12 things down that road. It's right there. Yeah. Vax is killed as well. Yeah, I agree. There is nothing wrong with free speech. But also, I think, it's important that we look after each other. We, well, I thought some of those UK companies would have been on that guitar. If not, you will. Okay, my friend. I'm not kind, April. You are very kind and very, very much appreciated. Thank you so, so much. And I think on that note, because we've gone over the hour, I'm going to send my love to you and thank you so much for that very, very kind donation. And I will see you all next week when hopefully we'll have some other great stuff to show you. In the meantime, my friends, as always, you guys take very good care. See you later.